Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Slope Club. Welcome back to another album discussion video. Boy here, and I'm with Tron. What's up, my guy?
What's up?
And Josh is here again.
Oh, hi.
And this time we got RJ. What's good?
Yo.
In this episode, we are gonna talk about the classic golden era album of Morning Musume, fourth Ikimasshoi. So, fourth Ikimasshoi, Golden Era Morning Musume, probably the most well-known lineup and collection of songs.
Oh, by far, dude.
It's pretty controversial, boy. That's a hot take right there. Golden era.
Oh, you think that's a hot
'Cause
take?
Some people think anything after fourth gen is not golden era. Golden era ended at fourth gen. So it's
Me, Tron, and RJ, we were Morning Musume and Hello Project fans, right?
Yes.
And so we're more familiar with the eras than Josh.
I have no idea what's going on. What you guys are talking about?
See? Okay, so
all right.
Morning
Buckle
Musume,
up, Josh.
Morning Musume, by this point, they've been around for like 20 something years.
As in now, in 2019, 2020, they've been around, for 23 years.
And so obviously with their kind of group, with the rotating members, people coming in, people graduating, there will be eras, right? And so the golden era, as fans would say, are where they were most popular, right? Like they were the biggest idol group in Japan, kind of, broke a lot of ground with idol culture and music. And so, fourth Ikimasshoi is from the golden era.
Yeah, to me, this is the end of the golden era, but it's still the golden era.
Yeah, I think once sixth gen came around is when the golden era.
Not to shit on 6th gen, because I love 6th gen, but yeah, to me, this is like, if you're going to talk about golden era, this is like the end of the golden era.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, I mean, it's the first album with 5th gen. This is where they were introduced and everything. So, it's... to me, this is like the end of
This
golden
is the
era.
last album for Gotamaki as well.
As we'll see as we get into it, this has so many bangers and so many like really big Morning Musume like standards, right? So I think this is like their highest selling album too, or second. It's one of the it's either one or two.
There are some people who are like purists, or not, I don't call purists, but just like everything ended after anything beyond fifth gen does not count.
Because best one is what came out before this, and that's, I mean,
That don't count. That's a best of album.
I know, but I could see Pierce. Well, I mean, there's what's it called? There's a couple like new tracks on there, but
Well, I only take this from like their mainstream popularity, right? A lot of when people mention Morning Musume in like Japanese variety shows or whatever, they always bring up the members from this album.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, even if you think 5th gen isn't technically part of golden era, this still has like the golden era lineup.
So by this point, like Morning Musume has been around for 5 years already, and they're already in their 5th generation.
2002.
Is that how fast they would graduate?
When they actually like debuted as a major group is when they got their 2nd gen. Like their 1st gen, technically they were still like an indie group and everything. So they didn't even release their first single technically until they already had a 2nd gen.
I wasn't into Morning Musume when it was their golden era. I was already, well, they were already on their 6th generation.
Yeah, I came in actually 7th gen. I came when Kohoru joined, so.
Oh, interesting.
I wasn't familiar with fourth Ikimasshoi, but these are the songs that everyone talks about, like especially the singles.
Even if you look at like Third Love Paradise, right? It doesn't have as many like top-notch singles as fourth Ikimasshoi. I don't think. It has what? Love Machine and Koi no Dance Site? That's it.
This is like a reunion podcast for you three, right? Because you guys used to talk about this on podcast format, right?
Here and there, yeah. I think it's very much a nostalgia trip. I know that before we recorded, like RJ mentioned that like he started revisiting this album, right? And then he got on like a Morning Musume like binge for like the last week. So I think same kind of thing for me when I started listening to this album again. I started like looking up the old like concerts and the old music videos and just like simple times back then when it came to the music and the songs.
Me and Boy were talking yesterday, and that's like exactly what we said. We were like, "Oh, dude, this made me like want to go back and watch like all these concerts that I remember enjoying and shit, dude."
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah.
I guess that's different about me because I knew nothing about Morning Musume. The only thing I knew was like the Baka test, which they're on, and that's
Okay.
like
Classic,
my extent.
classic.
That's my extent of Morning Musume knowledge.
I'm really interested out of Josh's take from this album, so I would love to once we get diving into some of these songs, like what he thinks and like because like Josh, like you're relatively I don't want to say new, but like in the last 5 years gotten into idols, right? So like going into a different like era, not just Morning Musume, but just different era for idol music in general. Just I want to get your thoughts and things and like the complexity isn't as how it is now of idol music than it was back in the early 2000s, right? So like I would love to have your thoughts on some of the stuff.
It strikes me how little really has changed in idol music, but at the same time, how much has changed.
Yeah, I got that feeling, especially. Yeah.
It's like listening to it, it's like, oh yeah, this still sounds like idol music that you would hear today, but at the same time, it's like, yo, this is so different from idol music you hear today. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I felt that.
When I was listening to it, a lot of idol music now is very expansive, right? It's very eclectic. There's a bunch of different styles. Going back to this also reached out to a bunch of different styles, not like fully one style, but there would be like a section in a song that gets pretty adventurous and it kind of comes out of nowhere at times, and you're like, oh, look at that.
Like Soda, we're alive, right?
Oh, we're getting into Soda. We're alive.
Let's go in, bro.
I was gonna say we
Okay.
have a specific person to thank for those kind of changes, and his name is Dance Man.
Oh yeah.
And he produced like half this album, so
I think that's why I like this album. Like a lot of Morning Musume stuff is what like defined idols for me, like idol music, like the mood and the vibe, and like the tone of idol music is a lot of is due to a lot of the Dance Man produced tracks that he did for Morning Musume. And one, Tron already brought it up, is Soda We're Alive. That's actually my favorite idol song ever.
That's a good song. Top.
It is
really
very
top
good.
for me.
Like the structure and like how happy and fun it gets. So it like starts off pretty strong, right, with these chants, right, like pump your fists, like all anthemic and stuff. And then the verse comes in. They get into a little bit of like rapping, right. The bass line's really cool. It's one of my favorite parts. And then the chorus hits, and it's like very, fun and idly, and yay, everyone's good. And then the best part is when it gets to, it's like towards the end of the second half. Oh, it's in the second half, but it's like it does this like Russian,
The Eastern
Slavic
Russian Slavic
folk music
dude.
type
Word.
section.
So
It's
good.
like, damn, dude. That's so good right there.
It's like our previous episode that we haven't seen yet on YouTube for Baby Metal. It's kind of like I saw parallels with the last album that we reviewed with Baby Metal, to Morning Musume, how like Baby Metal like kind of transformed Kavi idol metal music with this as well, with Morning Musume setting that foundation of like different genres being meshed together. How we saw like in our last review of Baby Metal, like this too with Soda We're Alive. Like you have like I remember listening to it and like boys mentioning of like the funky like bass lines. It's just really distinct to the idol music sound back then, and even just like in general. Jet Grind Radio, remember that song in that game back then?
oh yeah.
The influence from Jet Grind Radio, like I looked up, when did that game come out? It came out in 2000. It's like, oh, this is like exactly when the song came out as well, like within a year. So like there's distinct like sounds and like themes that like you could listen to that were familiar back in the early 2000s that were like incorporated in this song.
Yeah, so since Morning Musume is like the first idol group I listened to, it was all this kind of stuff, right? Like it's all funky, but then it gets all bright and happy. So that's kind of my first like exposure to idol music, and up until now, that's kind of my like foundation of what I look for when I'm listening to idol music.
This is my foundation too. I mean, like this is my first group that got me into idol music. So like any music that I was very impressionable back then is like the foundation of what I look for in idol music now and probably into the future, stuff that you would listen to from like this era of Morning Musume and just Hello Project in general as well. Like I just to kind of go back to Soda We're Alive, like it has other elements that are familiar with popular pop songs like Queen, "We Will Rock You." You know, we will rock you. Yeah, so it's like same kind of like theme when they're chanting during the beginning of the song too. So there's like 3 or 4 or 5 different genres being pushed together in this song, and it all blends well. It all just there's something to like for anyone, regardless of where your idol like tendencies tend to lie in terms of like taste.
Yeah, I was gonna say the genres are really mixed in there well. Like in our previous album review with the baby metal, I felt like maybe one of their songs like was a little bit more abrasive with how they mix the genres, but with this one, I think it really like just was smooth transitions throughout. I actually really liked the song when I heard it.
Yep.
It has the familiar, wall of yells in there. It has the repeating sections that I imagine in concert just like hypes up everyone. I could really see this being a hype song for them.
Oh yeah, dude. This is a classic, probably like top 5 Morning Musume song, dude, for any Morning Musume fan.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Top 5 idol songs of all time.
Oh,
I mean,
of all
it's
time.
lock
dude.
it in.
probably, dude. Like if you actually like, no, but like if you actually like did some like hypercritical, enemy whatever type shit, like I could see this being in like the top 5 of idol songs of all time. It's like it has that cachet to it, dude. It's just, I don't know how to describe it, man. It's classic. I mean,
all the sections and the elements that fits.
like Josh coming in as, new to Morning Musume or this old school style of Morning Musume, even he's, saying how good it is. So it's like, it's not like it's just nostalgia for us. It's there, I think.
What's another song you guys like? Maybe I'll trash it or something.
Oh,
My favorite Morning Musume song is Mr. Moonlight, I Know Big Band. So.
Okay. Let me okay, go ahead and talk about Mr. Moonlight because I know the other guys have some things to say.
Oh man, I don't know, it's just so fun and goofy and good, and maybe I'm biased because my Oshi is like the center, Yoshizawa Hitomi, but I don't know, it's just really fun. To be honest with you, I don't like the version that's on this album because I don't like the long-winded
That's the only
intro.
version I heard.
I know, unfortunately for you, it's the only version you heard. But if you cut off like the first 3 minutes, like the acting part, the song is fucking great, dude. It's just fun
there
and
for some reason. I don't know.
yeah, I have no idea. It's just fun and stupid, dude. Like it's just it's just a good time. Like, and it's fucking big band. So I mean, come on. But if you want to trash it, feel free.
I mean, like I also like Mr. Moonlight, not as much as So They Were Alive, but talking about how Morning Musume mixes in different genres. Here's a really good example of that. Right, take big band jazz. It's very like what is the word? Very like stage play-esque, especially at the end, right, with the big drum roll.
Yeah.
And then like in the music video, they come out as like Takarazuka kind of thing. But yeah, I like it. The chorus is what gets me with this song.
Let's sing a song, dude.
It took a while for me to really get into like the vocal melody and like the way they deliver.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting take for Sunku to do, right? Because he's got arguably his 2 strongest singers in Nachi and Gotomaki, right? And then to put the center as Yoshizawa Hitomi, who's not really known for her singing, right? She's known more for her personality.
but
so
she
like
fits well
to
for the
have that,
song.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
that's
to
why.
have
She's the
that kind
tomboy,
of
so.
that structure for it is really interesting, in my opinion. And if anything, it makes Yoshi look really good.
It's just to me like when I was listening to it early on, I wasn't really into the and then the little like inflections at the end of the lines and stuff that
baby.
they do. Yeah, but once it gets to the chorus part, then I'm good.
As popular as this song is, it's really popular amongst Morning Musume fans, right? I think this is like the most overrated song in the Morning Musume lineup. I like it, but I never understood the hype for it. I've never like understood why everyone just like puts it on this S tier like scale. Like I get it. If you're a Yoshi fan, like RJ is, then yeah, it makes sense why you like the song so much. Right?
Your girl does the opening line though.
There's a couple things I was thinking about why this is like.
Your girl does the opening line.
She does.
Tron.
She does.
you didn't like the call and response, dude? Mr. Moonlight. That's the best part of the chorus, dude.
yeah.
It's good. I mean, so the thing is, like, I like the music, the instrumentals of the song. Like, it's the 20 style, like, swing jazz big band stuff is cool. But like, just like how Boy was mentioning, like the inflections of the voice and like the like the kind of going down to your stomach to like get like the lower tones. Just like it doesn't really work for me. Like for
really? To me, that's
like,
part of the fun. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like Boy said, it's so theatrical, and that's to me that's what that's all about.
That's
Over
I think it's just too top for me. And like I also think like this is very like dominant to like three members. Like you have Gotomaki, Nachi, and then you have Yossi. Like there's no distribution of like anyone else incorporating themselves into like single
No, not
lines.
at all. It's those three, and then everybody else just gets to sing the chorus.
Exactly. So that's why also I'm just like no love for Gaki-san.
I see it. Yeah.
So like that's why like it's
She gets the opening line. What are you talking about? No love for Gaki-san. She gets the opening line.
But Josh, what'd you think of Mr. Moonlight?
Well, what do you think, Josh?
I agree with Tron.
We're split, dude.
I think this was one of the weakest tracks on this album.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Let's go, Josh.
Dang.
Not Nanimo Iwasuni, I love you.
Tron, you think it's the weakest track, dude?
I don't think it's the weakest track in this album.
I said one of the weakest. It's probably like second.
Damn.
It's towards the bottom
wow.
though. It's
I think for me is the same reason that Tron was saying. Like I enjoyed the instrumentals, but the vocals were too much for me. And also having listened to many different idol groups before this, I feel like this set the foundation, but people have done it better by now.
Everyone has their opinion.
Can I say a song that I do like though?
yeah.
Yes, tell
good.
us.
I do like The Piece.
Oh, of course.
Everyone likes the piece.
Doesn't
Come on
like
now.
the piece. Promoting
If Soda Wear
peace and
Wear
love.
Live is top 5, The Piece is top 3.
I
mean-
I don't know about
I mean,
that. But I think,
in a grand scale of things, maybe not for me personally, but like in the grand scheme of things.
like to me, the piece defines Golden Era. Morning
Yeah,
Musume.
exactly.
The piece is Golden Era Morning Musume. That's the sound.
It's that Golden Era Morning Musume and like just like I think of like when a distinct Sinku sound. That's like the piece is like right there of how much he has fun.
Nah, bro,
with,
this
like,
is a distinct dance man sound.
dance man. Well, like Sinku is laying his voice on it as well, right? Like I love like the funk sound and like the disc scratching and everything like that. Like I think it's just really fun, very playful.
Of course, the bass takes a lot of the lead there. But well, what did you like about it, Josh?
For me, it was just like the feel, like you guys were saying, like the groove it had and everything. Like, you could just like groove along to it. It's just like a fun song that I think everyone should take a listen to for sure.
The end is really stupid though, man. Like they're like,
Oh yeah,
whoa,
like,
whoa,
like a
whoa, and
physical,
it fades out.
like a physical thing. Like on the computer, they probably
Whoa, whoa,
yeah.
Yeah, they just like multiply that part. Yeah,
Also, you should go watch performances of it because the repeating thing live is really funny.
yeah. They like leave the stage and then run back on. It's so stupid, but it's great.
I do have another song that I like that I'm curious to see your guys' opinion. This is Otoko Tomodachi.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. That's just straight up Abe Natsumi just
yeah,
singing.
this Abe Natsumi with the fifth generation members
As backup.
as backup.
And like I said earlier, this is the 5th gen's first album, and this kind of like they just kind of joined the group right before this album came out. So to choose probably their best singer and one of their most well-known girls as like it's literally just her singing, and then the girls just kind of do the backup vocals and stuff. So
Yeah, Abe Natsumi is the center, the ace until Gotomaki came through and kind of shook things up a bit, but she was still like one of the most popular members of the group. So it makes sense, she's she gets a solo song kind of.
I really dig the guitar in this. I feel like the guitar really just
no, yeah, dude, it's
Yeah,
really
that's-
good.
that's the
it's
one.
it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really fun on this one.
All right, what's one that you guys liked?
One I want to mention, and a lot of people don't. I don't know if they don't like it or they don't give it as much love as I do. Is Ikoto Arukinen no Shunkan. It's
yes.
so bright and happy and just cute. Like I don't know, man. It's just to me, it's like this is just fun, happy idol music.
It is cute. It has like that jaunty, like bouncy step to it.
Like yeah, it's just like you're walking through the park and shit. It's just so cute.
Yeah, I think it fits the image of the younger members.
Yeah, and I think that's usually who performs it. Is usually the younger, cuter members, I guess.
Obviously the fifth generation just came in; they're pretty young.
Yeah, I definitely got like a throwback vibe with this one.
Yeah, dude, it's just it's so good. And I remember the first time I heard it and just liking it so much. Everybody's like, "Oh, really? It's just whatever." And to me, in my opinion, this won't mean much to Josh, but in my opinion, it's like probably the best album song from Morning Musume. It's one of my favorites. It's like really up there.
It's that high. Huh?
Yeah, I really like it.
I just think that the old vibe might like hurt it for me a little. Like, to me, I wrote down, kind of gives me one of those flip phone commercials for older people vibe.
Fuck. Cricket Wireless.
You see the next Life Alert commercial, dude.
Oh no, dude. Has it aged that badly?
Jeez.
I love it. So earlier when we were talking about Mr. Moonlight, you said it was one of the weakest tracks for you, Josh. What is the weakest track for you?
Thinking about it, it's probably that one.
Damn.
Again,
He just said it's like one of his best songs ever, dude.
it's okay.
Shit.
It's better to have different opinions here. I feel like it just
Tron, what's your weakest track, Tron?
It's probably the last song on this album.
That I agree with you.
I can see
Nanimo,
that.
it was
That's
me.
the Asami Kono song.
There's this song and there's another song that like tries to like just tap into like slow BPM like R&B vibes, and just like it doesn't really like work for me. Like the way that like how Sunku, whoever composed this song or this album with those slow R&B tracks, there's like one or two in here that just doesn't really like mesh with me. This is one of them. So especially to end the album on this, it's I don't know,
Yeah, it's the only ballad on the track, really, because Dekai Uchu isn't really it's low tempo, but it's not a ballad per se.
Yeah, it's like it's weird ballad, but also has R&B like feeling.
I think I'd agree with you guys too.
And it also follows RR21. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why they closed the album with this track.
Not to be mean to Miss Asami Kono, but she's not the best singer in Morning Musume's history.
Can't say she is.
So to her center song to close out such a banging album, it's like,
I get you. No, I mean, it's the kind of songs that I don't like an idol group.
Yeah, you don't like those songs in general, so
Nah.
Yeah, it's just the arrangement. It's kind of
it's
boring
bland.
to me.
It's bland.
That's what I wrote. I wrote that it was a little
group.
mellow.
Damn. I'm saying Josh liked this song more than Mr. Moonlight. That's what boggles me.
Yeah, dude.
Whoa.
Think about
No,
that.
but to me, like I'm just not a fan of like these mid-tempo kind of balladish songs
Yeah.
when it's done by idol groups.
Like I think a song that would have ended really well would be is it Dekai Uchu? That would have been a good, because I usually end that song a lot in Hello Project concerts.
Concerts, because it's a big, it's very repetitive, not in a bad way, but it's very repetitive, and so you kind of get the whole crowd going with it and stuff, and it's
simple and easy.
Yeah, so they use those a lot for like Hello Project, Morning Musume, like even like other, just back when I used to watch a lot of concerts, like from 2002 to 2007, they use this song a lot for like spring or fall tours to end to close out the concerts. So
I can see that. It's a very like happy, like with gospel influences in it. So I can see
the
that
organ
being, like, a
sounds
nice
in the
ending.
beginning.
Yeah, everyone just singing along.
It would have been a much better closer. Like even if they had swapped those, like it would have been much better.
So the last single that's included in this is Renai Revolution 21.
Another classic.
Oh yes, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Probably the strongest A-side single for me in this album is Night Revolution.
Yeah, like the 4 singles in this album are very popular.
Yes.
Renai Revolution and The Peace are kind of the ones that everyone knows. It's another Dance Man produced arranged track. So, of course, I'm gonna like it. This is like the sound for me, dude. Like, got the funk, the groovy bass lines. I mean,
Dance Man did all of Morning Musume's like best songs.
Yeah, it's what I like the most. That's for sure.
What did you guys think about Hajimeta no Rock concert?
I enjoy it quite a bit.
I thought it was going to be something different when I heard the title. To be honest,
Yeah,
I don't. There's something about it that I can't fully get into. I think it's like the '90s R&B.
It's the same thing as Nanimo.
Like I enjoy it. It's not one of my favorites, but I do enjoy it. Honestly, the only song I don't enjoy on this is Nanimo Iwazuni.
This one like starts off like a Destiny's Child song in the beginning with the violins. It's like I'm waiting for like sounds like the beginning of like I'm a Survivor with the violins how fast they play, and then like there's
I guess you can see the influence. You
go
know?
into like this really slow mid tempo R&B 90s sound. I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not really into that stuff too when it comes to idols. You know, I just want like, it's like a different take because they're all serious, right, or whatever.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
sound
yeah.
more. It's like a little bit more mature sounding, and I just want the happy stuff.
Yeah, give me that Genki shit.
Ikimasshoi, the title track.
That's a
Ooh,
fun
so
song.
good.
That's a
So
fun
good,
song.
dude.
Yeah, it's pretty hype, right? Like, woo!
Yeah, in concerts, I
yay.
imagine this is fun.
I think it serves it well. It's kind of in the middle of the album too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love like Nachi's like breakdown at the end. Like I think like RJ mentioned like when she does like the Morning Musume and then like it just does a breakdown at the end. I love that part. It's so really good.
I think for this song, I like the beginning and the end of it. The middle kind of like, I don't know, I started kind of drifting a little. But I like the beginning and the end for sure. I think it saved it.
Skina Senpai. I know Tron and I
Ooh.
are brothers in this
Talk
song.
about
This is
Tsukina
the-
Senpai, dude.
This is the 5th generation lineup song. Really cute, like folky pop song, dude.
No, I enjoy this song quite a bit.
No, this is a very nostalgic for me. I'm very biased towards this song because of 5th gen, and if you guys don't know, like Nigaki Risa is like my Oshiman. Kami Oshi. It's my Kami Oshi.
My Morning Musume Oshi is Ogawa Makoto, and she's also 5th generation.
Yes.
And so, it's good. I just like the verse where it's like dun 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 dun. It's so good, dude.
I like it if you watch the concert too. At the beginning, they go Janken Po, and then like
Oh, yeah,
everyone
and then,
has like
the whole crowd. Yeah.
yeah, that's the part. Like I saw that live when Gaki graduated. I think they had that their song, and like it was so good, so good. I was so glad I could see that live.
You guys want to know my opinion on this?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Well, he doesn't think it's the worst.
that's nice. At least we have that. Yes.
Actually, I really like the song.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
For some reason, when I heard it, I thought this could come out right now and it could sound like still fresh.
Ooh. Timeless. That's what Josh
Yeah,
is saying.
yeah.
The strings in it, I think really helped carry it too.
The chorus is nice too. We got a little bit of longer vocal melodies, you know.
It's warm. It's like a warm song. Like you hear it, it's nice, man.
Right.
It means a lot to the 5th generation, right? So, like whenever one of them graduated at the concert, they would all come and do the song, right? So it's nice. But yeah, Densha no Futari.
The Irish folk song, right? So we're talking.
Yeah, I got the weird like string thing going on.
Yeah. The strings in the beginning, it's like a folk song. I think that's the only thing memorable part about the song for me. It's just like the beginning. Everything else was kind of like,
It's kind of it's whatever.
I could see this being like mid tier for me in terms of the album. Like I like the beginning, like you guys said. I do think the hints of the bell that was going on throughout the song was nice. Also like mixing in different samples with the guitar and everything. Like around 3/4 of the song is when I start liking the song more, I think.
And the arrangement's good.
Yeah.
I think it's enjoyable. But I think as a whole, aside from the like weird like whistly string thing, I don't remember much else.
All right, so if you guys were to rate it, I'll go last. But let's rate it.
I don't know. Coming back to it, it's not as strong as I remember. Maybe it's because some feel dated. Some of the tracks feel dated. Of course, all the singles are very strong. That's like what's holding the album together for me. And a few choice tracks like Skina Senpai and stuff like that. But to me, it's all about the singles that are on this, the 4 singles. But it's still like the sound that is the foundation of idol music for me. Actually, when I got into Morning Musume, I didn't go back to this album immediately to listen to it. So I listened to like when I got into them the current stuff, right? And then I started going back after seeing them perform on TV and doing all their old classics and stuff like that. So it's not as, I guess, memorable to me as it would be for some. Still good though, but I'll give it a 7.
Ooh, okay. Going back to it, it just kind of rekindled the love I once had for Morning Musume. Because I mean, like just like Boy and maybe you, Tron, they were my first idol group. They were my introduction to idol music. And when I got into them. Like I went hard for the paint with Morning Musume, man. I mean, even with AKB and 46 groups, I don't sit there and watch all the concerts and stuff, but I did for Morning Musume. I watched everything that I could of Morning Musume. I really liked them as a group. And to me, this is their best album. The 4 singles on them are all really strong. I mean, like I said earlier, Mr. Moonlight's my favorite Morning Musume song. And the other 3 are probably in the top 10. It's just really good. The album tracks themselves are really good too. With the exception of Nani mo Iwazuni, which I don't really care for. The album is really solid to me. Mm-hmm. And like Boy was saying, it is kind of the foundation for idol music going forward, like how idol music should sound, or at least how I want idol music to sound in a general sense. And like we said in the beginning, it is like it's golden age. It might be the end of golden age, Morning Musume, but it's still the golden age. And for something, and this might be like nostalgia goggles or whatever, but it just brought back a lot of like good feelings and stuff, and a lot of appreciation for them. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
There we go. There we go. Strong number. Yeah, for me, I'm conflicted because like after listening to this album back again, and it's conflicting for me because this is like I found like a broken record, but like how Boy and RJ got into idol music, so did I with Morning Musume. So I feel like a lot of my emotion and how I feel towards this album is more so nostalgic versus like a critical, like how all individual songs, like how much I enjoy these individual songs holistically as an album versus like how much I just missed that nostalgia of like discovering Morning Musume in the past. Mm-hmm. What really carries this album for me is the anchoring of the singles for this song. For this album, the singles for the song. So The Peace, Red Night Revolution, So That We're Alive. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Mr. Moonlight, I think it does help round out the album as a whole. And then just the nostalgic factor of Tsukina Senpai, just for the 5th gen vibes for me. But everything else just doesn't really vibe and mesh with me in terms of like the strength and how holistically this album sounds to me. As much as I love Morning Musume, and fourth Ikimasshoi, the album I think is one of the better albums out there. I'd say more so 7th or 8th album is my Platinum 9 is actually probably more where I tend to like dive in, because even that's more like how I feel of album, like idol songs is more so like Platinum 9 era. In terms of like the more Genki upbeat songs that you don't really get.
He's a Platinum era guy.
I am a Platinum era guy. But to rate this album, really only liking 3 or 4 songs that really like vibe with me, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10.
Oh,
damn! I didn't think you'd give it that low of a score, dude. All right.
If I could, 6.5, but I can't.
Go on
6.
with it.
well, you have to round it up. That's our thing. We have to round it up.
All right.
Oh, am I rounding up? No, 6. It's locked in.
Okay.
6,
So 6.4. It's not 6.5.
6 out of 10. 6.4 if I had to, but 6 out of 10.
All right. Now for me, again, remember, I don't have the nostalgia factor or anything.
True. This is going to be the most pure rating of all 4 of us.
True.
So the history has 0 impact on me. I've heard like maybe one of these songs before, like maybe on the Baka test or something. So for me, this would have to be a 7 out of 10.
Cheers, mate.
I think there's 4 or 5 songs that I think are really, really good in this album, which I think help pick up the pace for maybe some of the other ones that weren't exactly my favorite, but were still pretty good. There's a couple, like maybe the bottom 3 I wasn't like too big of a fan of, but I think those top ones really did help carry it to the 7 score. If the rest of the songs I feel like were one of my favorites, then this might have been a higher ranking. I feel like with the other albums that I've touched upon, it's like I can't rank my favorite songs, but with this album I can. Like with those, it's like, oh, I don't know if this one's number one or if this one's number one because the songs are so good. But with this one, I feel like I can. So that's why it's a 7 out of 10 for me compared to the, I think both 9s I gave before. So yeah, 7 out of 10, which when I add up everything together, it turns into a 7.2 out of 10, which rounds it down to a 7 out of 10 in total.
Oof.
There you go. Lock it in.
Big
Lock
oof.
it in.
Morning Musume, 4th Ikimasshoi.
So that's our rating for this album. If you guys thought, this was a super low rating, it should be way higher. Leave your reason why in the comments below. Or if you think
I will.
Or if you think this is too high and you think it should be like a 4 out of 10, then go ahead and leave that too down below.
Whoa. I can't imagine anyone giving this a 4.
yeah.
Holy shit. At least not an Idol fan. Damn.
It's just like 1 point for each single, and then the rest is just garbage.
Yes, but if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and check out the other videos we've done. We've done Baby Metal so far, and we've done AKB with more to come in the future. So go ahead and check those out, and we'll see you in the next video.